Yeah.
It was cold last night. Cold last night.
Yeah.
It was cold. It was a cold. Game was cold last night. Because I did play Hagerstown last night. Varsity.
Well, I guess Nancy won't do.
I went, but I couldn't get it in because we got too late. And run.
There all day. I told him about it.
Oh,
Hagerstown's really good.
They're really
That's not good. That's not good litmus test for.
I said, time you got some chances. Well, we got a few guys. Not Hagerstown.
You just watch her all day. I just let you do whatever you want. I think Morgan.
That week we got like an ace pitcher. I think it's super split.
I think it's
That changes it.
Oh, yeah.
Jason, how was your report on that?
Saw all of
Not great for us.
Ten
10-0 in the second inning.
Which one? No, Hagerstown?
I think this Seminole Street is.
Oh, Masinow's good. They're good. I mean, he's got the teams he's playing are really good at the beginning too. So.
That
gets you ready.
These two, no doubt, are home runs. Already. So they're pretty good.
You don't see that pitching early.
Did you say it was Tim?
Yeah, he's in.
It's close.
It's going up. Oh, yeah. Moving the opposite direction.
I'm hearing these things though, like long term. Like, I think we got some freshmen that are pretty good, and some junior high girls, and I think in the next couple of years, it sounds like we
I
might.
think you're ready.
I think you're good.
Sorry.
We'd like to call to order the Liberty Perry School Board meeting. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence or a prayer of your choice.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, so tonight things are going to be a little different. We have a board bond hearing meeting, and the next item on this agenda is the board to hold a preliminary hearing on the proposed project. If you're interested in speaking at the hearing, please make sure that you have signed in on the sheet and should include your name and address. After this presentation by the administration and its advisors, there will be an opportunity for the public to make comments about the project. At the hearing, we will ask each person to limit their comments to 3 minutes, and that topic be limited for the proposed project under consideration. The notice of this preliminary determination hearing was published as legally required. At this time, I will ask Mr. Black to explain the purpose of this hearing.
So pursuant to Indiana Code, school corporations must hold 2 public hearings and adopt resolutions to preliminary determine to issue bonds or enter into a lease for a project which has a total project cost and exit that meets certain thresholds. These public hearings and future considerations of resolutions are the beginning, not the end. This is the beginning of the legal process, and we note that no board action is legally required at this hearing. Rather, this hearing is solely to hear public comment on the project.
Moving forward, we now hear from Mr. Black about the process of determining the communicating and project to the community and need for the project.
Yep, so those that are with us, there's a sheet that kind of outlines the lengthy discussions that went in and continue to go into the projects. Really, this is an all-encompassing discussion on projects that include a number of site upgrades in all 3 buildings, including some HVAC and safety and security upgrades, as well as classroom environment upgrades as well. Members of the board did a walkthrough of our facilities to get a better understanding of our needs. There is also the possibility of an addition to the high school if the board chooses to do so after we get through the determination of the hearings. But this has been a discussion at least pretty strong for the last 8 months. And the board is really working to identify the highest needs and prioritize the plans as we move forward. So again, all encompassing, this FAQ will be on our website as well for people to review, but it's spending approximately $1 million at Selma Elementary, $3 million at Solomon Middle School and the potential of $8.4 million at the high school. And it expresses and shares at the bottom kind of all the areas of which would be covered with the use of those funds.
Okay, moving forward, we're now here from Stifel Financial or Stifel, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, about how the proposed project will be financed, as well as information about the effect on the typical property taxpayer.
All right, we have Luke online here, and he's going to go through a brief presentation. And there are financial sheets available for those that are here. That's part of the FAQ sheet, stapled in the FAQ sheet as well. All right, Luke, it's all yours.
All right, awesome, thank you. Are you all able to see the screen right now, the slide?
Yes, yep.
All right. Well, good evening, Luke Rosen with Stifel. We serve as bond underwriter for the school corporation. I have a couple of slides here to really show the financial impact of this potential project and how we're going to layer this in to the school corporation's outstanding debt obligations. As Aaron mentioned, this is the first step in the legal process. So some of the parameters at the end are maximum parameters. We can always come down from them, but once they are set, we cannot go above them. So the first thing that we start with is the school corporation's current annual debt payments, and Liberty Ferry only has two bond issues that are outstanding: the 2020 first mortgage bonds and the 25 GO bonds. Both are paid off within a 5-year period. You'll see the drop off in payments from 26 to 27, and that's important because if we issue bonds in 2026, that first payment will begin in 2027. And you'll see how that layers on here in the next couple slides. So those payments relate to the debt service fund levy, which is ultimately the dollar amount that you ask the community for in the debt service fund. So you'll see that that essentially mirrors what was on the prior page. Again, we're out of debt by 2030. We have a drop off from 26 to 2027. Essentially, it's just the payments that were on the previous slide, factoring in miscellaneous revenue and some cash that the school corporation maintains in that fund. When we look at this potential project, the maximum authorization is for $12,240,000. But with this authorization, and what is typical with construction projects, is that you don't need all of the dollars on day one. So typically, we try to match the financing with the construction draw schedule, so you're not paying interest on the full $12.2 million. So that's really illustrated here, and that would be a 2026 bond issue of approximately $6.8 million, coming back next year issuing the remaining of 5.3 to 5.4. We know that this is going to change somewhat as you all get into the details of bids and scope and all that type of thing on the construction side, but this illustrates how this will be layered into the bond issue. The $12,240,000. Of that $12,240,000, what makes up the dollars there? So first is on the 2026 bond, you'll see the breakdown between hard and soft project costs, capitalized interest, and cost of issuance. Same thing for the 2027 bonds, but ultimately of that $12,240,000, $11,480,000 would go toward hard and soft project costs, approximately $405,000 for capitalized interest, which that's essentially just a tool that we use to limit the impact of taxpayers from the levy by using bond proceeds, and then the cost of issuance of $355,000. So those three items make up the total project amount of $12,240,000. You'll see the pie chart there in the left illustrating that breakdown as well. The last slide here is the maximum legal parameters. Again, no action is being taken tonight at the board meeting, but these parameters will be included in the resolution at the next hearing. That will be where there will be a resolution set forth in front of you. So the par amount of the bonds, again, $12,240,000. You'll see the next two lines that were broken down on the previous page. The estimated interest rates 2 to 7%. We sold bonds today, you'd be around a 4.25%. Again, trying to be conservative early on, given this is the first step in the legal process. Maximum term for the bond issue is 20 years. estimated interest cost at that 7% interest rate is $10.44 million. Again, we think it's going to likely be less than that, assuming that rates remain somewhat consistent to where they're at today. Maximum tax rate impact is 45.4570. That does not factor in any debt rolling off as we showed in the previous slides. When you factor that in, that's what we showed in the previous slide, and probably the most important piece financially here is that there is no tax increase over your 26 debt service fund levy due to this project. Again, that was illustrated on the prior page, but I want to make sure to say it again, no increase due to this project. The last little table there is some additional information. Again, you'll just see using the resolution, so I want to make sure that I address them. The first one is the school corporation's maximum annual payments as a percentage of your net assessed value, which is 0.3256%. Then the other required ratio that is going to be in that resolution is the direct and overlapping debt as a percentage of your net assessed value. That essentially factors in the town, county, library, township, school corporation, all of the property tax debt as a percentage of Liberty Parish School net assessed value. And that is 5.82%. So again, no action being taken, but these parameters will be in the resolution at the next hearing. So that's all that I have. I'm happy to answer any questions that the administration or the board has.
Anybody have any questions for Luke?
No.
Nope, Luke, we appreciate your flyover on this, and the folks present do have hard copies of your information as well. So I appreciate you joining us this evening, and we'll follow up on how things go and I'll follow up with you tomorrow, Friday.
Perfect. Sounds good. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Luke.
You too.
Thank you. Okay, moving forward, I'm going to ask for public comment. Anyone here signed up and has a public comment? Okay, we're still going to read what we need to read. We will now open the public hearing. Remember, if you would like to speak, please sign in on the sheet, which is located in the back of the room I mentioned earlier. We ask that you state your name, your address, limit your comments to the proposed project and financing. Keep any comments to 3 minutes and avoid being repetitive if possible. Now I'm going to ask for the sheet, and even though we don't have anybody on it, okay, I will begin calling the names of those who are interested in speaking. Thank you, Cindy. So everyone that signed the sheet does not want to speak. Would anyone else like to speak? Thank you. Thank you to all who participated in the hearing. We appreciate the time and interest in the project and future of our community. Please note that this is just the first step in the legal process. No board action is legally required at this hearing. Rather, this hearing is solely to hear public comment. The board will continue to work with administration and professionals to look for efficiencies to conserve tax dollars while meeting our educational needs. The board will hold a second public hearing in this boardroom on April 15th, 2026. I'm assuming at 6:30 p.m. Motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion. So moved.
Motion Bob Cook, second by Kevin Niemeyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Second part, now for the fun stuff. Move to our regular meeting. I'm going to look for an approval of the agenda for this meeting.
So moved.
Mr. Kevin Niemeyer and Mrs. Kara Wolf seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Now I'm looking for the third part would be an approval of the meeting minutes from March 11th, 2026. Mr. Cook is a motion to second from Kara. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Patron comments. Would you like to speak in this meeting, anyone? Okay. Number 5, we're going to go to the claim and treasurer report, which we did receive in an email today. Some of us, we looked at it, the ones that didn't. So looking for a motion or I have no concerns. Motion, Mr. Bob Cook.
Second.
Second, Mr. Kevin Niemeyer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Personnel. I'm going to do A and B, and I'm going to separate C, Mrs. Stephanie Dickinson. So recommendation, Austin Mulkin. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that name properly. WHS track coach, and Tammy Buck, cafeteria lead at Selma Middle School. So I'm looking for a motion for A, Austin Mulkin, and I guess it's still A, Tammy Buck.
Motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
Second, Mr. Kevin Niemeyer. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Right.
Motion carries 4-0. Finally, I'm looking for Mrs. Stephanie Dickinson, payroll and benefits coordinator. I'm going to abstain from voting for this because my wife put in for this position. I don't feel that I should be voting on that. So I'm looking for a motion to approve that.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is first Mr. Cook, second Mr. Niemeyer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Moving forward, we have 2 resignations tonight. We have Caitlin Wade as the high school cross-country assistant coach. Mr. Aaron Brooks was our Selma Elementary SRO officer.
Move to approve item
6B.
B.
Sorry. Kevin Niemeyer, second by Bob Cook. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Unfortunately, the part of our meeting that I hate the most, we're going to talk about retirements next. So we'll go through the motions first, and then we will have a little bit of speaking. So this is Christina Holdren, retiring after 34 years of service at Liberty Perry and 37 total years in education. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Mrs. Carroll, second. Any discussion? I'd like to discuss a little bit. Bob, you want to discuss first?
Just a little bit. She's had all my kids. I mean, pretty much of those, and just, say biased, but as I've had the opportunity and time over the years to chance to talk to our kids, I think that your name continues to keep coming up.
Oh,
Just the dedication, the loyalty, and the passion, and so very special.
thank you.
Very special.
Wow, thank you.
So that was it for me.
Made a huge impact on my children's life also. And gosh, I don't want to get emotional, but 34 years is a long time. Like, it's a big deal. People come and go in jobs. Okay, you've been through, I don't know how many superintendents, I don't know how many principals, coworkers, thousands of students. And like, I talked to you today on the phone. I didn't really expect you to show up, but I feel that you have been a servant. I know that you're like in a leadership role, and there's different kinds of leaders. There's leaders that think they're right all the time, and my way or the highway, and then there's people that serve the community, and you definitely serve your community. So it's a lot better place because you are here. So thank you for your service.
And you had to put up a vow as well.
It's really appreciated.
It's not that I live there, right?
It's a long time, and
Yeah.
to last that long anywhere. I know you loved it. There was a lot of good days. There had to be a few bad days. You never complained. I know that you didn't show it, but there had to be some. And people come and go, and people leave because of disgruntledness and all kinds of different reasons. And you fought through and you stayed, and that's what we're all about here. So we really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That means a lot.
So we've already voted on that. Gosh. All right. Updates and presentations. Mr. Loomis will present and share an update on Wapahani High School.
You want to
You
thank
got the floor, buddy.
anything?
You got the floor.
You can stand or sit. You don't have
Okay, well,
Whatever's best for you. Yeah, sure.
Hey, I just want to, I don't know you at all, really. I know what it means to serve in this profession, so I do really appreciate
Thank
your
you.
use. 30 plus years that's a long time.
That's very good.
So,
Thank you.
and great word, servant, because the best educators are servants.
Absolutely.
That was good. So, yeah, so hey, here I am. Just want to update quickly on some things and some happenings at the high school. But first, I just want to thank you all for the opportunity to be here at Liberty Perry. 23 years at one place is a long time. And there were certainly some, there's just a degree of uncertainty when I took this job about how well I would be accepted, how quickly I could gain the trust of people, and those sorts of things. So that was kind of my goal when I got here, was just to earn people's trust, because I feel like to lead effectively, you have to have that trust in place. And, I don't know what people say about when I'm not around. I probably don't want to know. But I do feel like we're off to a pretty good start this year out there with me out there. And just a good group of teachers too, veterans. they've been around the block a few times, most of them, so they know what they're doing, but they also, sometimes need to be open to some changes and some things, and, that's certainly, something that we are working on, especially with the middle school, and, getting on a common schedule with them, and, ultimately sharing a teacher next year, sounds like, and maybe more down the road, and, what I have to do as a leader is to convince people, or not convince people, but to explain to people that's what keeps us viable, in this day and age with, legislations coming down the pipeline, and, you all aren't done, funding and those things. It's just it's a mess right now, to be honest, especially for smaller districts. So, I feel like we're taking a lot of good steps there. Ben and his crew at the middle school have been very cordial. I know it's not been easy for him either, throwing out a new schedule to his folks and, just changing things around there. So, it's been good working with him as well. It's just good people to work with here. I will say that. It's been really good people here. And I found that out pretty quickly. So, again, thank you for accepting me and allowing me to, serve here, because it's been great. Just a couple things to highlight. We started something this year called Raider Academy. This is something that we're still getting off the ground, but we have some kids in it this semester. Raider Academy is basically housed in high school with Mr. Kaufman, who's phenomenal, by the way. Has a heart for students who just struggle in the traditional classroom for, myriad of reasons. Maybe it's attendance, maybe it's discipline, maybe it's just they don't learn in the traditional way that other students learn. So there's a lot of reasons a student could end up in the Raider Academy. We've had a handful of students, 10 to 15 this year that we've allowed to be in that program, and it's a virtual platform. They work on Play-Doh, which I call a necessary evil, because there's some drawbacks to Play-Doh for sure. There's some shortcomings when it comes to it, but when used effectively, and Mr. Kaufman is making sure that he does that. When you use it effectively, it can be a tool for success. So they learn virtually, either in an AM or a PM block. And then the goal, especially for the upperclassmen, the juniors and the seniors, is to get them out of the building for that second half of the day, or whatever half of the day they're not in Raider Academy, and out into the workforce. They've got a job of some kind. And Mrs. Qualls, our WBL coordinator, handles a lot of that kind of stuff too. WBL's work-based learning coordinator, so she handles a lot of that for us. And the goal is to allow those students to learn in a virtual platform, but then also get out and do some real world things when it comes to, working and getting on the job and that kind of stuff. So I see that program continuing to develop next year, and continuing to grow. I think that we've got some other students that, just fit the bill for the Raider Academy. So that's been good to get that off the ground and get that going. Talked about WBL work-based learning just a minute ago. That's something too that's going to continue to grow. Because I think it's good for kids. I think it helps them learn those soft skills, like communicating and working with other people and collaborating with others, and just learning those skills that you need. I call them real world skills. Like, I feel like any kid, whether they're going to a 4-year university, a 2-year college, or entering the workforce, or enlisting, like, those soft skills like perseverance and grit and communicating, collaborating, these are just skills that I think anybody from all walks of life should have. So work-based learning really allows us to tap into that. It's also on the new diploma and how all that works. Kids need to bank work-based learning hours in order to earn diploma seals, which is important because now we're going to get graded again. The new accountability model is out. Schools are going to be getting letter grades again. It's been, 6 or 7 years probably at least. It's been pre-COVID, I feel like.
9 years. Yeah.
Wow, even longer than I thought, since we've actually had a school letter grade. So that'll be a jolt to the systems of some schools probably going back to that, but I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. But WBL is important to that as well, because that's a category on the new accountability, school accountability model is, work-based learning. We can actually earn points for raising our letter grade based on the number of WDL hours that we have our students taking part in. So Mrs. Qualls is doing a great job. She's teaching English and she's coordinating WDL, and she's got a lot of good people around her that are helping her do that. But it's been good for her and our students getting involved in that WDL. Pipe dream. At some point, it would be really cool to start a student-based enterprise of some kind. We get lots of funding for that from the state, which is always a good thing. But again, it puts the ownership in the hands of the students. I look at our library and I see that little lounge there off to the side, and I think, man, that'd be a cool place for like a coffee bar or something. Like, it doesn't have to be some extravagant, like, intricate type of business, but if we could get students to run something like that, and code it as a school-based enterprise, that would be awesome. So that's something that we're thinking about. It actually might coincide with a new business pathway that we want to offer and get off the ground next year. Mr. Stanglin has agreed to teach a business pathway for our students, probably focused on either the marketing side of things or business administration. We're not exactly sure what the end game is for that pathway. There's a couple different options we can go with, but if we could get a school-based enterprise and tie it into that pathway, that business pathway, that'd be pretty cool. So that's something we're working on. Mr. Neckers at the elementary has agreed to take the helm again for our ed professions pathway. So we'll be able to offer that to students who are interested in getting into the education world. When they graduate, if they want to be teachers or educators. So that'll be something that we'll be able to offer. And then we've got some really cool stuff with our RAS 32 program too. And that's that partnership with Union City, Winchester, and Monroe Central. I know Northeastern's got some students. We've got a few. We'd like to grow that. We've got a couple kids in the early childhood part over at Monroe Central. We've got some students that are interested. So there's some new programs with RAS 32. There's some ag programs now tied into RAS 32. We've got a couple students, sounds like they're interested in the ag world. So they'll be in that program next year. We've got some other ones. The one that really impresses me the most is, again, part of the new diploma is, so really there are 3 different kinds of seals that you can earn. You can get an enrollment seal, an employment seal, or an enlistment seal. You can also just get the baseline diploma, but we want to do better than that. So we're going to try to give our students one of those 3 seals. And the one that I feel like, I don't want to say gets overlooked, but I feel like there's just less attention paid to the enlistment seal. And we've got students that I know that, the military could be a really good option for them. And, we have recruiters come in, they do a good job. They come in at lunch and they talk to kids and that kind of thing. But I don't know that kids always, I don't know that they know all of the benefits that are involved. And B, I don't know that they realize you don't have to serve in infantry. Like, there's thousands of jobs within the military that you can do. And RAS 32 is going to pilot a program next year. They partnered with an Ivy Tech campus down in southern Indiana, who's kind of the base of operations for it. But if a student takes part in that program in RAS 32, they can get their enlistment seal done. Like, if they go through that program, there's a public service course they need to take. There's some hours they need to bank and some different things. But Monroe Central's got an instructor. He's a licensed teacher. He's a former military guy that has agreed to kind of head that up. So what I'm saying is we've got a lot of opportunities within that RAS 32 program as well. Sounds like Mr. Black's going to help us with some transportation, to and from some of these schools, because there's things at Monroe Central, things at Winchester, things at Union City. So if we have kids that are interested, we're working on being able to make a way to get them there, at least at Monroe Central, where they can hop, if they can get to Monroe Central, they can hop on a bus and then go to either Winchester or Union City at that point. So that's a good thing. Of course, we have the MACC that we still have, 40 to 50 kids enrolled in, which is great. It's 10 miles down the road. The problem for us when I was there at Union City was it was 50 miles down the road. So we had 4 or 5 kids maybe because it was such a long bus ride for them. But short ride for us. Again, we're working on transportation to and from the MACC. I've been talking to Mr. Swingley some. It might just be a white bus, and it might just be that the first 14 kids that sign up. But that's better than no kids, because we have heard some kids would like to tap into some of these programs, but transportation is an issue sometimes for them. So, if we can at least help alleviate that to some degree, that would be a good thing too. So, those are things that just popped into my head initially. Again, it's an ever-changing world right now, especially at the high school level with the new diploma, and just trying to make sure that all of our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed when it comes to requirements and options for students and all those sorts of things. But man, I'll tell you, there's a lot of new people and a lot of new positions at the high school, and they're all doing a great job. I mean, Ashley's killing it right now as our academic counselor. She's on the spot with things with students and scheduling, and it's just, in some ways, I looked at Brad Miller the other day. I was talking to him, and I said, at least we're all in the same boat together. I mean, he's in a new position, I'm in a new position, Ashley's in a new position, everybody's in a new position. We're all just kind of, navigating together, and it's worked out by and large pretty well this year. So it's been a good year. So yeah, appreciate it.
Jason, I was fortunate enough to be part of the hiring committee, and
You asked me the toughest question I had to answer in that interview.
I saw some of the passion, okay, and I heard some of your spiel, and it feels like that you're actually doing those things. Like, you walked into a very tough situation, at that point.
Absolutely.
And we were happy to find you, but I don't know if you realize how tight-knit this community is. Does
Yeah.
it feel like a really tight-knit community?
It does, and,
Yeah.
and I had some of that over at Union City too, so I get that.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's a tight-knit community.
Yeah,
And-
we put you in that position that
Yeah.
deserved respect, obviously being a principal,
Yeah.
but you use words like earning trust. And trust is something that you have to earn for sure. And
No doubt.
I've been accused of being the hit man on the board. I've been accused of having a hit list before to get people out of here. And the fact that you and I have had only positive conversations, because I'll tell you, people come to us
Yeah.
with a lot of positive stuff, but
Yeah.
everybody wants to run to us with the negative things. And the fact that all that I've heard about you has been positive is a really good thing. I don't think anyone else has heard a single negative thing. At least we've not talked about it. So you're doing a good job for the first year. Just appreciate your passion and the fact that you follow through. A lot of people in the interviews say a lot of things. They say what people want to hear.
Sure.
And then when it comes down to it, they get so relaxed they stop doing those things. And I'm not seeing any of that out of you. So
Well, I appreciate it.
really
Thank you.
appreciate what you've done. So
That's what
thank
we
you so
want.
much.
It really
Yeah.
is. Because it
Tough.
was a leap of faith, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But it was a good, and I knew pretty quickly, it was a good move. It was a good move for my family, for me. It's a good move. I feel good being here.
That's good.
That's good to hear. Thank you. All right, moving forward. So Mrs. Easton will present and share the LPS Road to Future and Readiness.
I will also say congratulations to Mrs. Holdren. I won't keep it together if I talk about it, so I'm not going to, but she is a huge reason of why I am where I am today, so poor lady can't get rid of me. She had me as a student, then as an intern, then as a babysitter for her kids, who now have their own, which is not okay. Now she has me as a colleague. We never accomplished the teaching together 5th grade, but we did get to be colleagues and work together, so we'll take it. Okay. I am really here to talk about just some updates on what we have worked on and accomplished this year with college and career readiness. Yes, you guys are welcome to take whatever you want. Jason hit on a little bit of it, but one of the big key pieces of this is the diploma requirements that are now out there. It kind of builds it, but we really want to start making sure that kids are experiencing career opportunities and learning all the choices that are out there, not just when they then get to 8th grade at the end of it and are like, hey, pick what your future wants to be, because, every 8th grader just magically knows that. But how can we build that on a K-12 spectrum and start them learning about all the opportunities out there? I have an 8-year-old who wants to be a fashion designer. Actually, she's not really sure if she wants to be a fashion designer, but design costumes for Disney, but to do this. But it just kind of hit me because I was like, how does a girl in Selma magically want to be a fashion designer? Like, you always hear, like, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a doctor. And I was like, oh, my girl, like, has this weird dream. Like, okay, let's run with it. So it's been cool now to listen to all the students and all the things they're coming up with, but we just want to make sure they know all the options out there, and that it's not just those typical 6 or 7 careers you hear for your whole life, and then you get out there and you're like, oh, there's all these things. She was driving the other day, and we saw a porta potty out at a work site, at the Wawa, I think is where it was. We're real excited about the Wawa.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, Mom, did they just drop those off? And I was like, well, yeah, like somebody has a company and they drop it off and then they come with a giant truck and they suck all the stuff out and then they put it on. She's like, I don't want to be a porter potty person. And I said, well, it's good to know what you don't want to do, just like you know what you do. So it's just been fun to start digging into this and then being able to offer that for all of our kids. We want all of our kids to have those conversations and those opportunities. So we created what we're calling the Road to Future Readiness, which is that first page. And so we kind of bolded a word in each grade band that we want to focus on. So in K2, personalizing. So just trying to start figuring out, like, what do they enjoy? What is an interest of them? What do they like doing? And then moving to 3-5, okay, now let's build on that and start learning about what are some careers out there? How can we show them the different options they have? 6th to 8th grade, we're going to get a little more specific, especially because we're moving the preparing for college and career course to that 8th grade group, but all of 6 through 8 will start working on more specific industry visits. How can we get them a little bit more into, okay, these are specific careers that are out there and what hits you. 9th and 10th is where we want to start really individualizing it, so hitting some job shadows, getting out there and seeing, like, what do you think you really want to do after high school? And then by 11th and 12th grade, it'll really start hitting what Mr. Loomis said about the work-based learning, being at school half day, then being an intern half day. When I think back to my time as a student here, I had the opportunity. So I actually did half day at school my senior year, and then I went to the elementary for the first semester, and my second semester was supposed to be physical therapy, and that's where I realized I loved education. So I ended up doing PT like 2 days a week, but I still needed to come back and see my class. And so, but that's what really helped me figure out, like, okay, what am I going to do with my future and what am I not going to do? So making sure we have those opportunities for students. The next couple of pages just breaks that down a little bit more. We're really leaning into the RIASEC model, so every student will take that assessment each year, just so they can identify what are their strengths, what plays into that, and what kind of careers play into that. And then on the last one, the high school one, I loved that one. Mr. Loomis and his staff came up with a portrait of a graduate for Wapahani this year, which I thought was really important. He worked with his staff and his teachers, picked out those 6 different traits that we want students to leave Wapahani being equipped with and ready to go out in the world. So we have kind of phrased it Raider ready. We want them to be ready to leave us as a Raider and head out into the world. And so all those are options we offer right now: internships, job shadowing, pathways, Career Center, RAS, career cafes. We are going to start bringing, we've had a few this year, we will keep building, but bringing in people to the school during AL, academic lab and lunches, where kids can sign up, and if it's something they think they're interested in, they can hear people speak short term, make a connection, ask questions, those sort of things. Military connections, and then industry insights is we have been fortunate enough that we've started doing almost monthly visits to different places. So we went to G&K Aerospace. We did a trades day with Ivy Tech. We did a medical day with Ivy Tech. We took our staff to some places last semester, and the whole middle school and high school staff got to go out and actually tour and hear from business professionals, like, what are you needing and what are you not seeing from employees when people come in? What are things you're looking for when you're hiring? So it was a big eye-opener for them. So we've made a lot of ground there. We're trying to make sure we keep forward movement, but we want to make sure we're doing it with fidelity and that it's meaningful and not just checking another box. So we're trying to keep moving, but at a pace that we can make sure we're doing it purposefully. So sometimes we get a little ahead of ourselves. We do have like a dream board. There's currently 4 career coaches. So Jamie Qualls, Ross Reynolds, Megan Barton, and Liz Parks are kind of my gurus that are helping in the buildings. And so we're piecing together some things that can keep our school moving forward and trying to offer those students the opportunities. So the next 2 sheets are just more information of things we're going to use. The next one is, like I said, the Raider Ready. The front one, I realized when Ashley and Jamie and I were talking, I was like, I don't even think I can truly tell you like all the programs that we're connected with that they offer to students. So we put together this as an easy thing for families and parents and students especially to look over. So that tells you our WHS pathways, like Mr. Loomis said, that is going to be business in the future, culinary arts, engineering, and then education professions. And then it lists all of those options for the Career Center and RAS 32, because a lot of times I feel like our students and parents here say like, hey, they can go to the MAC or they can go to RAS, but they don't actually know what they have to offer at those places. So this just lays it out for them. The military, Ashley is working with our National Guard based right down the road. So she's gonna add some things to that. On the back are the things we're offering at the high school internally. So getting those internships, job shadows, exploration activities. For instance, one fun one we had this year at the high school was Nathan Brandt, which is Tammy Brandt's son. He now works for Universal Studios in Florida. And he actually got to work on some of the new parks that just opened, and so he came in, he's on the social marketing media side, but he came in and talked to a whole group of our students about his job and how he was a student here and now he's there and what that job entails and looks like. So just bringing in some of those fun opportunities for kids to learn other things that are out there. The next thing you'll see is the Indiana Career Coaching Framework. We have a grant with the Education Service Center, but these are frameworks we have to hit in order to be successful in the grant, but also we have to hit because it's Indiana's career coaching framework. So we've worked hard. The fun part of this is there's a lot of overlap, and it takes a lot of people to make all these happen, but we've now worked between the counselors and the career coaches and some teachers on all the different things, so we are making sure we're covering all that framework. I was really excited when we actually did this because for us, sometimes we feel like we're still not doing enough, but it was nice to know like, no, we've really already hit these and we have some other things we're also offering on top of this. So that was amazing. We've also started entering a large partnership with Junior Achievement. They offer a ton of free programming for career-based things. So earlier this semester, I think that was this semester, we took the personal finance class with Mr. Stanglin, and we went to a actual stock market challenge. It was amazing. I'm horrible, and I actually learned a couple of things, but the kids had some curriculum beforehand. Mr. Stanglin went over with them. Then they actually they got money, and they purchased stocks before we left. We showed up. They literally like ring a bell. Stock market really starts. Each minute represents a day in the stock market. So these kids are like going quick. They have the paddles. People come over. They're trading. They're doing all the things. It was just really cool. Then they get like every few days they get a little piece of paper where somebody bought this stock or this got crashed and went under or all these little things. But it was an actual competition. So like 3 different schools got medals and little swag bags and awards and all these things. So it was really cool. But we're going to do BizTown next year. It's coming back.
So bummed.
I know. We'll gladly take you back if you want to stay. But BizTown is where they do a whole curriculum. So they have to learn about different jobs, marketing. They have to apply for their job. They go down to this literally city that's inside a building, and they actually run the town. And they are the mayor and the judge and the banker and the police officer and all the things. And then 8th grade, we're going to do Job Spark, which is a huge hands-on career fair. So it has like Lilly, some really big construction firms, some veterinarian firms, but it's all a hands-on job fair, and so our 8th graders will travel down to the state fairgrounds next year to go to that. So we're really excited and thankful for Junior Achievement too. They're going to offer us some amazing opportunities, and most of it is all free to us, which is even better because we love free and valuable. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at in the career and college readiness world.
I have some questions.
Yeah.
So, like, I was looking at elementary and it says direct industrial visits and coursework. So do we have industrial visits or is that more of a pipe dream? Are we doing that with elementary students? We're taking them to industries?
Which one? Tell me where you're at.
6th and 8th grade. I guess that would be number 3 on the first page.
And on your,
I
on
just-
your roadmap.
Yeah, on your roadmap. I'm sorry. I should have. So it talks about teacher-directed industry visits. Is that like a pipe dream, or is that? Do we have partnerships with industries?
So,
We've actually done it.
yes and no. One, we did start one this year. They went to, so 4th and 7th grade. This year I think it was 8th, but it's going to go to 7th. The 7th's going to do RISEC and 8th's going to do JobsWork. But they are traveling to the service center to do RISEC rooms, which break down and do, each of the rooms is one of those 6 letters. And within there, they travel to 3 different stations that have hands-on real industry type simulations.
Okay.
So they work through those. But then on top of that, so like that was a morning, and then that afternoon, they went to one of the farms that we have here. Can't remember which one off the top of my head.
Okay.
But Megan and Ross planned it. But then they went out to an industry farm and they went through and talked about all the different jobs that they house and hold and what those jobs entail and all that.
Okay.
So yes, we have started them.
Yeah.
Do we do as many as we want yet? No.
Right.
But the goal is that that is a increased thing. Our high school did do more industry visits than our middle school, but they did a couple this year, and the goal is to add on.
And then secondly, like on this page here, this thing, is that the career assessment that we had the issue with last year? We had the strange
That one
thing
is, and we
happen.
have a new career assessment that does the same thing with results, but it's a different assessment, so it won't come up again.
Yeah, and then we get the results, or how do the results go? Do they get the results, or we get them, or?
The kids get their results, but we collect it also. So once they get their results, we have them put it in a Google form, and then we're going to start tracking. So every year we can go back. So one of the career requirements is starting 5th grade, 8th grade, and then 9th through 12th, they have a one-on-one meeting with a career coach.
Okay.
So our goal is that every year they'll be able to start looking at those results, and then they can talk to kids about how they've changed, how your interests changed, that sort of thing.
Do we look at like the job market? I heard you talk about, you said we. When you said we, you mentioned a lot of teachers and staff going. Do we like look at what the job market's going to be, and we look at like the class of 2029, how many jobs are going to be, and do we start like in middle school for, jobs that are going to be, more evident for our graduating students? Is that something we do, or have we done that, or do we plan to do that?
So yes, so a lot of the apprenticeships and things that the state is going goes based off of where the job trends are going and what those top industries are. We do look at that, and we have started showing a few students, like, here's different things that are hot ticket items. Because the other thing is like, we're trying to get kids to also realize, like, along with what's a hot ticket job that's coming up, but also, like, Sadie, if you want to be a fashion designer, like, your chances of staying in Selma, Indiana and being a fashion designer aren't really realistic. So a lot of our kids too are like, well, I want to do that. And it's like, okay, that's great. Like, I want you to do that, but I also need you to come to the realization of, like, where do you have to be located? Can you move away from here from family?
Yeah.
Do you have the funds to get the education to do this? Or is it straight job on training? Like, so yes, we're looking at trends, but also like the reality of, will all of our kids fit that trend? Not necessarily, but it's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Something that's feasible for your lifestyle.
Yeah. It feels important for a small school system, because obviously your daughter wants to be something, my kids want to be something, and sometimes they grow up and do that, sometimes they don't. As a school corporation, it's not our responsibility to tell them what they can and can't do.
Right.
I'm just hoping that we are moving towards the trends of the jobs that will be available once they get out of either high school or college.
Yeah.
With this type of program, like, not that we're wasting our time with other things, because maybe one out of the 150 kids want to do that. But if there's going to be jobs in this, I would think that we need to move in the direction of pushing those industries. And secondly, like you mentioned.
Can I add one real quick?
Yeah.
That's a great point. So a lot of our pathways, so like, for example, our RAS 32 programs, like, Joanne McCown, who's in charge of the whole thing, and the people that kind of sat on to get, I kind of know how it started because I was kind of in on the ground floor too. Like, they did a lot of research, like what are the high wage, high demand career fields right now in Indiana and like the surrounding areas. So like, people need welders, people need precision machine operator, people need, there's jobs in the ag world that are high demand, computer science, healthcare for sure. Like, so a lot of the programs, the pathway programs that kids can enter are already those kind of high demand, high wage type of jobs. Now, that doesn't mean they do whatever they want, but I mean, at least we're giving them a little bit of background knowledge in a field that we hope they're at least mildly interested in. That's why we do the legwork in junior high. So hopefully we can, when they get to high school, we kind of know what they want to tap into, and then we try to get them in a program that at least aligns with what their interests are. And those can change, obviously, but at least it's a starting point. So
yeah, that's the importance of a program like this. Like, I understand it's fun for the teachers and they have passion for it, and it's nice to go out and meet people and them to, go through the interview process with a teacher who's already got a job.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the goal is for the students to have an opportunity to learn at our school something that they may not learn at a sister high school, and we've got them ready for the future, because that finished product that you're looking for, that's what we're also looking for. And I can tell you, with 2 students that just came through the program that went into a field of computer science, both of them, they were very lacking.
Yeah.
They moved into a field that they weren't ready for, and I believe Kara's son is also in that field right now. And it was tough to be a Wapahani graduate and move into that field. So I'm hoping with this program that we are not just doing things that are fun. I want us to do fun things also, but we need to do things that our students are going to be able to get jobs and careers at outside of this. And the other thing I heard you mention, Jamie Claus, which I know her pretty well. She's really great lady for sure. I didn't hear you mention Ashley Whirling a whole lot. Like, is she involved in this also? Because I know that Libby Ritchie, when she was in Ashley Whirling's position, she came and presented something similar to this, nowhere near as in depth, just a year ago or a year and a half ago. And it was very similar with the same curriculum and everything. And that was more of what her job is. So are you now, like, part of that? Because I know that you're part of our technology team. You've got a lot of hats. Like, are we giving you too much to do? Like, I mean, this is a lot. Like, you've got a multitude of hats, and one of the things we've asked Aaron is to, like, define what you do. And I know that he's worked on that, but it sounds like this is another thing that you're passionate about, and you're doing a good job at it. But, like, our counselor probably should be super involved in this also, being the academic counselor for the high school. Like, is she involved, or?
Yes, Ashley works really closely with us.
Okay.
So
she's pretty much
especially,
at every meeting.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. She works super close with us. And it's important too, because we have to make sure that the experiences fit in with the student's schedule and what she's doing on that academic side in her role. So she is involved with us 100%. We've also tried to give her a little grace though, because she's coming into a big stepping stone of all the things Libby did for us, but then also all the changes of the new diploma and figuring out those systems. So she plays very closely with us in all of it.
That's good to hear. So
yeah.
Finally, like you mentioned, students like Mr. Brandt coming back. Obviously, you're from the area. There's a lot of kids here that have graduated, and I can think of 3 doctors off the top of my head. I can think of nurse practitioners. I can think of physician assistants. My son's a computer engineer. Like, there's a lot of kids that have graduated. We've got professional baseball players that would probably come back like they did at our elementary STEAM night. We had Greg Pyle, we had Anna Baker, we had people that came at the elementary that are from the area that would relate to this area. Like, hopefully we can use some of those resources, because they're people that grew up around here. And I know that you're from here, so you probably know a lot of those, but just as an added benefit.
Yeah, so we're actually building a community partnership spreadsheet. So we actually got to go to a BNI group, one of the 3 that are in Muncie, that Mr. Holdren actually runs. So, but that will just get a big list. Our big thing is as this continues to grow, and with the number of students, when this 9th grade group keeps moving up and then on, is we value those partnerships, but we also don't want to burn out our partnerships.
Yeah.
So we're building a huge community spreadsheet of all the people we can tap into. Alumni is a huge part of that. We have the Wapahani Career Fair coming up again at the end of this month. The middle school is actually doing a half-day career fair as well this year. So, and then we used them for STEAM night at the elementary. She pulled in some. So
Mhm.
one goal is making sure that list is long enough that we're not overusing them and that the kids hear and see from a variety of people. So absolutely, I completely value, and I usually end up having to apologize to people because I'm like, hey, I threw your name out to come over
Yeah.
and talk to our kids
Yeah.
about whatever.
Yeah.
So absolutely, we're pulling in alumni. We're always looking for people to add to our list, so feel free to send
Yeah.
us names to put on that list, because it's gonna be a big feat. And the other thing is, when you get students out into the workforce, you hit a lot of those confidentiality, and a lot of places are finding that there's some issues with ages and things like that. So the state's working on that as well, because confidentiality and those sort of things is a big problem. So yes, we're building a partnership list. We're trying to make it as long as possible so we can call those people back in and
Yeah.
show the successes of Liberty Perry, but also not just burn out our Liberty Perry people. So
Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
absolutely.
That's all I have.
Real quick, shame this with you, but one of the things I think is understanding is just the dedication we have with the teachers that drive, because we're not going to be able to do every career out there, every profession, every job that people are looking for too. So, but it's also just the relatability of the individuals that are working in the different departments. So in high school, I mentioned how they develop and how they grow, and I think that's one of the things. And as we reference kids and reference those things to my daughter, physical therapist, that was not something that was driven by the high school. But it's one of the things that we really do well is we really educate well. I think that's the thing, preparation and getting our kids ready. So sometimes I think we think about all these programs and all these things, which there's nothing wrong with all those. But one of the things too is having the ability to say, hey, there is things out there we might not be offering, but we actually have the ability to make sure we want to push you into the area that you want to be able to do. If that's fashion, one of them could be. I mean, there could be things that maybe we don't offer, but there's areas that we can tap into that might be out there. It's the same thing. My daughter said that's not part of it. It's the medical is a big industry. I'm in the medical side as well, so we know it's a huge industry. But it's just being able to let them go and do things that are there. So I think we offer a lot, and we do really well with the teachers in those individual positions. So not shortchanging that part. I think it's so critical that a lot of our folks do a great job with those current now and going forward, because we'd love to have everybody, if it's a dentist or a doctors that are out there, or, I mentioned the technology side. That's difficult, but I think as long as we push and prepare them, I think they're going to be able to move and do things maybe we don't offer.
And I
at
think
least prepare them.
too, allowing the students the chance to show their passions and
Yeah.
share that with the younger students. So I think Ava's in on this.
She is.
On
Yeah.
the
Which
first,
is good.
the second
She is. Yeah.
second grade house. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have a group of students in high school who are very excited about environmental type futures, and so we're going to go down to second grade
Right.
and work with second grade and do some lessons about different things, and then they're going to build birdhouses with them. And so I think too,
Yeah, hers is veterinarian, so she's looking at
Okay.
the animal side, those kind of things. So
Yeah.
completely different, but I think it's just being able to have pieces and parts that we can have success with, because it's some of those things you can't develop all new programs, but you can do certain pieces. I
yes,
think that have a lot of success with that too.
Yeah.
So.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is make sure we're strong on the academic side of things too, to make sure people are prepared and,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna get too deep in the weeds, but we do have, the state has issued a program called Indiana College Core, and then we're working hard on
Sure.
that as well, because our high achievers, our high academic kids, like, it's a great deal if basically there's 6 different buckets of different courses that fit into those buckets, and if they're dual credit courses, and if they take enough of those, they can earn 30 credit hours worth of college credits. And if you take 15 credit hours a semester, I mean, that's your freshman year of college is pretty much taken care of for you before you walk out the door. So, that's another piece that we're really working hard on, is to make sure we can offer those high academic kids those opportunities, because
Yeah.
everybody likes a year less of tuition.
It's not all good academics. You mentioned the welders, so there is other different fields that you have to tap into as well.
Yeah.
Those kind of jobs, which there's huge demand for electricians and plumbers and
Sure.
welders are
Trades,
huge
yeah.
jobs.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Perfect, thank you. So, number 8, we are going to go A through E. Approve the LPS Road to Future Readiness. Approve a donation from the Community Foundation of Muncie and Delaware County for the ADA Playground Equipment Project. approve Escroft Trust Agreement with Mr. Black as the Escroft trustee for Liberty Perry School Corporation. D, approve the agreement with Thrive Credit Union to establish the student affinity card program for Liberty Perry. E, the board will begin to review the building level student handbooks. This will be the first reading with approval set for May 13th board meeting. Motion to approve A through E.
Yep.
Motion.
Second.
First, Mr. Bob Cook, second, Mr. Kevin Niemeyer, sorry. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. 9, review of reports, enrollment reports, ECA financial reports, and cafeteria fund report. I don't think we need a motion for any of that.
Nope. Any questions on any of those reports? No major. Okay.
Number 10, corporation comments, patron comments. No. Corporation staff comments. It's still you are. None. Superintendent comments.
Ms. Holton left, but she is phenomenal, and I've shared some messages with her. She is a staff member that welcomed me early to this school corporation and has treated me unbelievably well, and I do appreciate her at a very, very high level. And these two individuals right here, appreciate the work they're doing, both in tough roles. Jenna's role was trying to understand my passion for career-connected learning and why it's so important and making that a reality. I had a vision for what this roadmap would look like, and she took it to another level, so I'm super proud of that work too. But thank you all, and good luck to our students and teachers as we move into the testing season. We're now in testing/prom season, so it's go time. 7 weeks, and we're out the door.
Yeah, hard to believe. Hard to believe.
Board comments are next. Ms. Carroll. Do you have any comments, Kevin?
I'm far older than anybody here. And
Far smarter.
Wiser.
There you go, wiser.
actually, when I went to some elementary, he wasn't that old. Not Scott, I think he was 4 years old.
How old are you? I'm joking.
You're old, yeah. But I'm far older, and it's like a completely different world, education and what you're doing at the high school, middle school, even the elementary, than when I went. I wish that I would have had, I don't know. I'm really disappointed that I went to school when I did, maybe, I don't know. But it in no way did it prepare me for anything afterwards. I remember starting Ball State, and I'm embarrassed to tell you stuff I did not know. Just simple stuff. And I think most graduates back in '74 probably faced the same thing. But stuff that's done nowadays is just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. All this stuff you're doing like that.
Yeah, it is. Very
I remember I majored in general business administration, GBA is what they called it back then, and it was I think somewhere close to 50% of Ball State graduates at the time, that was their major, just because it was general and they had no idea what they wanted to do. So then when you get a little bit older, you find out, oh man, I could have had this career, that career, that career. Nobody, and there's so many things like nobody ever told me you could do that. They was like an assembly line back then, it really was. And they just churned you out, and so you were out there and you thought, I'll just do what everybody else does. I guess that's the way to go. And it nowadays kids know that there are far more things to do. Far more things to do. My oldest grandson joined after he graduated. He joined the National Guard just so he could get the education benefits. Nobody mentioned that. We didn't see any military person, recruiter whatsoever. Of course, Vietnam War was just winding down, so it wasn't a very popular thing to go. Another grandson went to the Career Center, half days. He went to Blackford and drove all the way down here to go that. And he is in the Carpenters Union now. He brought home a paper and showed me their pension. His pension will be over $100,000.
That's good.
So, you know,
That's awesome.
it's a little bit better than my pension.
That's awesome.
And mine's pretty good.
speaking, nothing, the facilities do look nice, by the way. Was out with the baseball, softball, as we talk about inside too, exterior is looking a lot of nice, look really nice up there too. So compliments to folks who are just maintaining and taking care of the outside facilities too.
Brian Douglas got it down to a science.
That's why, he's just there. I mean, it's just gravitating. I know they're really putting a lot of time with softball. So there's just a lot of good things are taken from the facilities, so very nice. That's it.
For me, I mentioned leadership and service. So I'm a third-year school board member, and I signed up to be a servant. Okay, a servant of the students first, the community second, and our staff. Okay, you're part of our staff. It's impossible for me to be a servant of you if you don't take the time to come and do the things that you did tonight, because I can't make decisions. I can decide who sits in this chair, okay, or the five of us can, and we can decide what kind of bylaws that we write and that type of thing. But without you coming in and taking the time, it's tough for us to make those decisions. I appreciate it. Obviously, we're in a money crunch, and we've got more administrators than we've ever had, okay? It's a fact. There's more administrators at Liberty Perry than what we've ever had, and we have less students. So the pressure from the community, I had a person on a golf course ask me that question today. Why do we have so many administrators? What do they all do? And I couldn't answer that because I didn't know what the roles were. And that's my fault for not knowing to answer that. But times like this allow me to be able to answer that question. So again, I'm in a role as a servant of you, the community, and the students. That's how I view it. And I just appreciate you guys coming in tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate being here.
Oh, I guess we're going to look for a motion to adjourn. Well, second. Here, discussion.
He just wants to take that out.
Yeah. Motion adjourned. At whatever time it is. Gosh, a long one.
7:34.
Oh, wow. We took up some of your
Thanks for your
time.
time, guys.
Thank you so much.